Director of Neighborhood Intervention Pest Control Services. Is that correct?
Correct. So good
Okay.
evening, everyone. Hopefully you can all hear me pretty well. My name is Caroline Bragdon. I'm the Director of Neighborhood Interventions for Pest Control, and I oversee the Neighborhood Rat Reduction Program that is occurring in select neighborhoods across New York City. I work with all neighborhoods that are interested in pursuing or addressing rat conditions in their neighborhoods. What I'd like to do tonight is make sure I answer your questions. My understanding is if there's concerns about an increase in rat activity this spring in your neighborhood, there are a few comments I can make just to kind of address some of the reasons why we're seeing increasing rat activity this spring, and then I can offer some strategies to respond, along with what the health department is able to do. Does that sound okay, or would you like to start off?
That's exactly what we're looking for. What you're doing, what we can do, what the problems are, where the hot spots are, and what resources we have.
Okay, great.
And the causes, of course, if you can. Okay, I'm gonna mute myself. Excuse me, and take it from there.
Great. And feel free, if you have a question, you can jump in at any time, and I'm happy to answer all of your questions tonight. So basically, rats are very animals that have a very small foraging range. They tend to live and dine in the same block. Generally, if you're seeing rats on your block, around your home or around your business, it's because they're finding something good to eat in that area. So the most important thing to do if you start seeing rats around your neighborhood are to identify their food source, and then to figure out a way to eliminate that food source. So most of the time, rats are eating uncontained food waste. And that food waste can come from a variety of different places. It can be a restaurant leaving their garbage out at closure and having it sit for a long period of time. It could be a school doing the same. It could be property owners having open garbage cans instead of closed cans, or it could be a leaking or overfilled litter basket. But basically, when I am assessing a neighborhood, I typically am looking for the signs of rat activity and asking residents, where are you seeing rats? And then looking in that vicinity, 100, 500 foot range to figure out where they're eating. Rats really can't be addressed properly until you address where they're feeding. And so a couple other points about that. One is rats have to eat every day, so they need a reliable food source. And then two is once they have that food source, they become very loyal to it. And until you eliminate the food source, it's very hard to eliminate the rats. For this reason, we typically try to bring neighborhoods together because you may have rat activity, rats burrowing on your property, but they may not be feeding on your property. They may be feeding at your neighbor's property. And it can be very challenging to address that unless people come together and work alongside each other. There are definitely things you can do if you're a property owner. You want to make sure you have sufficient containers to hold all waste between pickups. And you want to make sure those containers have tight fitting lids. If you live in a large multifamily building and there's more garbage than what can be stored inside the building, it's imperative that the building has containers, even if they're outdoor containers, that will keep rats out of the garbage right up until sanitation can pick it up. If you're a restaurant owner and you're serving food and nightly and then closing your restaurant down, what we ask restaurant owners do is to really make sure they're using nice, thick trash bags, that they're spraying down the insides of those bags with a bleach solution, that they're making sure there are no leaks or spills, and that all the food waste is going into the trash bags, and that the bags are put out as close to pickup as possible. You want to minimize the amount of time that garbage is sitting on the curb, allowing rats to feed. So let me pause here and ask if there are any questions, or if you have a sense of where the rat problems are emanating from, and if I can address another condition that you're seeing that you think is causing the rat problem.
Okay, someone asked me or suggested that some apartments putting garbage out in bags rather than in sealed garbage pails.
Right.
Now, but you mentioned bags should be out. Is it okay to put them in bags, or should they be put in garbage bins?
I mean, it is legal for the bags to go on the curb the night before pickup, right? If pickup is 7 a.m. on a Friday, you can put your garbage out at 4 p.m. on a Thursday. But it's legal to do that. Sanitation allows that. But unfortunately, rats will probably feed on that garbage. And so if you have the ability to put the garbage out either much later at night or early in the morning, it's basically preferable that you do that, because it'll minimize the amount of time rats have to feed on that food waste. Sometimes if it's, again, a big building, may have a building super that could come in early in the morning and put the garbage out. A homeowner, you could wait until as late as you possibly can to put it out, or if you happen to be up early in the morning. Department of Sanitation also will work with some block associations to pick up directly from a garbage can. And we've been working with sanitation for a long time to help, figure out ways to get garbage containerized right until sanitation picks it up. So it's certainly possible to do it that way. But sanitation kind of has to be in the loop about that decision.
Anybody else have a question before she continues?
You mentioned, spraying the inside of the bag with a bleach solution. I mean, what is that solution kind of made of? Like, what is the ratio of water to bleach?
So like a 10 part water, 1 part bleach, a 10-to-1 bleach solution. And that's really just, if you think about, rats really follow their nose. And so they're going after the smell of food, and rats really don't want to smell cleansers. And so rats like to smell food, and also rats like to smell the smell of rat because it makes them feel comfortable. So if you interrupt the smell of food by spraying it down with a bleach or any cleanser, it's just that much more unappetizing for them.
Okay.
So, we recommend property owners could spritz down the insides of their trash cans. Also to regularly just scrub down the sidewalk area around your garbage cans, so that there's no noticeable signs of grease or spills. It should look nice and clean. And that's one thing we just really emphasize with all property owners.
Mm-hmm.
The garbage area should be clean. It should be well lit. It should smell like cleanser and not garbage. It's a telltale sign for us. If I see a grease stain on a sidewalk, I almost always know there's going to be rat activity nearby. And actually, we've engaged in projects where we've walked around, especially business districts, and if we can count the grease stains, generally we know there's going to be rats, because that shows that the area is not being kept clean.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what is your relationship with the Department of Health's pest control?
We are Department of Health Pest Control.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And so let me then say, what does the health department do?
Yeah.
The health department, we perform inspections in response to 311 calls, and we'll perform inspections through referrals from the community board as well. When we do an inspection, if we find rat activity or conditions conducive to rats, we will identify the owner of the property, and we will send the owner a official commissioner's order to abate those conditions. And attached to that order will be an inspection report outlining what was found. So if we found garbage conditions like I just described, it will say garbage conditions that promote the presence of rats were found on your property. And then the property owner has, generally, it says 5 business days to respond, but I promise you, in the era of COVID, it's really more like a month to respond. And then we come back and we'll do a compliance inspection, and we'll see, are those conditions resolved? So did the owner put new trash cans out? If we saw rat activity, did they address the rat activity? Did they take steps to remediate? If they did, they passed the inspection and we closed the case. If we continue to find signs of rat activity or conditions attracting rats, we will issue a summons to the property owner. The summons is for a hearing at oath, and then if they fail to appear at their hearing, or if they're found that the summons is sustained and by the judge, then they will have $300 put on. They'll owe $300 basically. In addition to that, we may also send out exterminators from the health department who will put down rodenticide baits outside the property, and then that too will go on the tax bill of the property owner. So, you know, those are steps that occur across a series of months. What we prefer is for a property owner, if you recognize that rat activity is on your property, to kind of really take vigorous steps to address it and kind of resolve the issue before the health department even has to show up.
Yeah. So is there written literature on what a person can do to, clean the sidewalks,
Yeah.
And the containers? Is there any
Yeah,
written literature?
absolutely. There's a lot of material supporting property owners. So we have a brochure called Preventing Rats on Your Property. That is a brochure that is available to property owners in English, Spanish, and Chinese. It is free to you. You can call 311 and have a couple of packs delivered to you, and you can distribute them to your neighbors. It's also available online. If you prefer to just click around, I can send you the links. We also have a more comprehensive guide that's more appropriate for people who may own or manage a large multifamily building. That's really about, all of the steps you can comprehensively take. This includes things like building maintenance, regular cleaning schedules, hiring a pest management company, et cetera. And it's very important that we all hold property owners accountable to keeping their properties rat-free, because once you kind of let things go, it can get really bad really, really fast, especially when the weather is warm. I will send you all the links after the meeting. I will reply to the meeting invite with the links in an email for you.
That's great. Yeah. This way we'll know how to do that. And there's always an issue of neighbors getting upset that they call the city. Do you find that to be a problem?
Yeah, I do. Which is why, typically we ask neighborhood associations. So I'll say one other thing is we offer a class called the Rat Academy. And we partner with community organizations, community boards, and council members to do locally hosted Rat Academies. So if you can bring together an audience of like 30 people from Community Board 12, if you have like a local business district or a variety of neighborhood associations, and you can bring together that group, we can do a Rat Academy for you. It's like a 1 to 2 hour training, and we'll walk through all the steps and answer all the questions. And the idea is to bring people together collaboratively so everyone understands what they need to do. Because what we say is everyone has a role in rat control, and rat control doesn't work if only one person's doing it in the neighborhood. You need as many people on board as possible, and it really helps to have a neighborhood association who can kind of just coordinate the follow-up. Maybe also you need new corner litter baskets. You kind of need to do some advocacy to holistically address the conditions in the neighborhood.
What about the city litter baskets? Although people don't usually throw food, but sometimes we do see people, when they go down to get the bus, they'll come with garbage and throw it in a litter basket. Then by the end of the day, it's overloaded.
Yeah. If you're
And
seeing
it doesn't get picked up for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, I understand that's a serious problem, and Department of Sanitation calls that improper disposal when people use the corner litter baskets for household waste, and it leads to overflow, which is really not good. It's also not good to have people placing garbage around the litter basket. So in those cases, you can ask sanitation for assistance in addressing improper disposal. I can't speak for them and whether or not they have the capacity to respond to every incident, but they certainly they'll say themselves what a problem that is for the Department of Sanitation and for the city.
I understand that when you do send people, is there such a thing as a red spot?
On the map, you may
Yeah,
be referring to our rat map.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, we do have a map. It's down right now. We're about to put it back up. You should see it in several days, where we publish the results of our rat inspections on a map. And in those cases, you will see the properties that have failed inspection. And I know that this has been a sensitive area. Some property owners don't want to see that their property has failed, and then their neighbors can see that their property has failed. But we're hoping that's an incentive to remediate those conditions, and we're happy to come back and re-inspect. So if your property failed an inspection and you've remediated and you've really done your work to clean up the issue, then we'll come back and do a new inspection so your property shows up as passing on the map.
Can we get to see that map just to get a general idea of where it might be?
Yeah, once, so as I said, that we had to take the map down for maintenance, and it's been down for about a year now, and we're about to put it back up again. What you will see is that this past year, there's been a slowdown in inspections overall because many health department inspectors have been working on COVID. They've been doing COVID inspections instead of rat inspections. So now that the city is starting to reopen, and especially throughout May, our city rat inspectors are getting back into the business of doing rats, and they're doing fewer COVID inspections, and you'll start to see see those inspections back on the map again.
Well, how do we reach it? What's the link? New York City
It's
Public safety.
nyc.gov/rats, nyc.gov/rats. And as I said, it's down right now, but it should be up soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you're interested in organizing or hosting a Rat Academy, certainly you can work with the community board or your local council person to have a you can host or organize a Rat Academy, and we can do it remotely with you via WebEx. We've been doing them all throughout the pandemic, and they're very popular, and we're happy to work with you to schedule one.
Very good. Very good. Any other questions? Any other thoughts?
I see that Anna did put
Anna
the
wants
link
to
to our
talk
Rat
about-
page.
Mr. Hall has a question. Mr. Hall is raising his hand.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see your hand.
Okay, that's okay. Can you hear me?
Yes,
can.
I can hear you.
Okay, my question, and I guess everybody knew it was coming. How familiar are you with New York City Housing Authority or Housing Authority developments independently, or you don't want to have this engagement conversation? Where do we stand
Oh,
with
I spend a lot of time working with the Housing Authority. I was meeting with them today. I do sit on a committee specifically to address issues that arise at housing, and I'm happy to answer questions about specific developments. I do work with a lot of Bronx developments, but I can't promise I'm working with the one you have in mind. But I definitely, I can definitely answer any questions you have.
Okay, I was thinking about Gun Hill, but we're trying to educate our residents on the basics so that
Yeah.
we can avoid this pandemic, I guess you could call it, as far as rats are concerned. So, you know, I just wanted to know your familiarity with it, okay? And you do work with developments independently, and that's really what I wanted to know.
Absolutely, I do. And if you have an address, I'm happy to let you know what the inspection status is, if you want to give me an address.
Yeah, 740 East Gun Hill Road.
Okay. Let me just boot this thing up, and I will look it up right now. 740. Can't promise we've been there recently. That's not one of mine. But I will look it up and see. That was last inspected on February 17, and it did fail the inspection for rat activity. And we made a referral to NYCHA Property Management to respond to the failed inspection. So it is on our radar. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. Say no more. I'll be in touch. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy to try to make some internal referrals for you if you'd like.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Are there any other particular properties of concern that I can help address?
Well, no, I'm just curious about what Mr. Hall just said. So you guys have a problem over there, Mr. Hall?
I'm not gonna say it's a problem. I go out of my way to try to educate folks. All right, we have incinerators, but they like to put stuff in front of the building, and it becomes habitual. I don't really want to call it a problem. It's going to escalate to a problem. And if you were to come by and you saw all these bags out 6 o'clock in the morning, you'll be scratching your head. Try it. Try it.
I mean, because I walk by there, you know, sometimes I'm walking to the park, and you know, I can't say I've seen, you know, I mean, like I said, I don't live there, but I haven't seen. But then I'm not out at 6 a.m. either.
Yeah.
So I don't see that because your place looks relatively clean.
Yeah.
I guess
It's the
I-
timing. It's the timing. The timing is essential. All right. You see, that's the thing. It's the timing. All right. They will clean up, and I don't harbor that problem. But my thing is to educate a lot of new residents who come in here and they think they're on Simpson Street, when in fact they're on Gun Hill Road. And that's why I even brought this up. But no one needs to be immune from the situation, because this is what we're trying to avoid. But in your case, it's the timing that's essential. Okay.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Go.
In my neighborhood, we have a problem. It's a fairly new problem, as far as I know, because
Okay.
I've only just begun seeing them, maybe the last 6 months to a year. I live on Barnes Avenue in the Bronx, between 219th and 220th. We have lots of rat activity. My family owns the home next door to me, my cousins. They did find burrows in their front yard. They called the exterminator in, and he sprayed something in the hole and tried to cover the hole or whatever. The next day, there was a dead rat under the car. So hopefully that means whatever he did is working.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we work on it because we live next door to each other. My real family next door. So we have bait stations in the yard, bait station in the backyard, because of the pandemic, we spent a lot of time in our backyard. Now,
Yeah.
because we're next door to each other and we're family, so we don't even have a fence. We just have two backyards made into one. So, but the problem, we don't want to see any rats running, because we like to entertain. We don't want to see any rats running through our backyard this summer. So we're trying to fix the situation now. I don't know who we can call from the city, because like I said, we had the exterminator. He's been here twice, because he came the first time. He did whatever he did with the hole and sprayed whatever in there. Threw some the poison packs. And threw the poison packs in there. They didn't last long. Like, they were gone in a matter of minutes. So that means, I guess, they were in the hole or whatever.
Right.
But then he came and he sprayed something in. He's been here twice in the last 3 weeks. The last 3 weeks he's been here twice. We haven't seen anything. The second time he came, like I said, the next morning, my cousin found her car was parked in front of the house, in front of the driveway. She found a dead rat under the car. But other than that, I mean, what else can we do?
Okay.
We don't want to see rats running around.
I understand.
In the backyard this summer.
I really don't like seeing rats running around either. Especially around your home. So a couple of things. If they're rat burrows, right? Those are the nests, and they do live down inside the burrows, and they're generally pretty deep. They go like 1 to 3 feet down. But there could be anywhere from 1 to 12 rats living in the hole, depending on the breeding pattern and what's going on, how much food those rats are finding. So if you've only seen one dead rat and the hole's still there, chances are pretty good there's many more rats down there. Generally, what I would ask an exterminator to do if I had active rat burrows is to treat every week for 4 to 6 weeks, because what you said was extremely important. You put the bait down in the hole, and the rats that are down there, they consume the bait and then they die over a period of days. Then you have to keep replenishing that bait to get all the rats. So you want the exterminator to come in and treat, 4 times, sometimes every week. So you keep giving the rats more bait. So then you kill off some, and then the ones that are left, you want them to eat some more bait. So you get what I'm saying. The way that you test to see if you've gotten all the rats in that nest is that you can take a shovel and you can completely collapse it down. Don't cover the nest, collapse the nest. You see the difference? A lot of people make the mistake. They'll put like a rock over the top of the hole.
Yeah,
but the nest
they tried that. They tried that. It didn't work.
it doesn't work at all because the rats are still living in their home. All you're doing is giving them a roof. What you need to do is collapse their home. And you can do that. You can fill the hole with sand. You can fill it with pebbles, or you can take your shovel and you can just collapse it. And some people will use a hose and they'll flood it and make the earth nice and wet, and then they'll just collapse it. If the
What, I mean,
if the
what do you, I'm just,
Yeah.
I don't understand what you mean by collapsing it. I don't understand. You mean
You
with
wanna-
shovel?
so it's a nest, and they're down in that nest. So what you want to do is like either take a shovel or like a stake, and you're just like collapsing whatever
okay.
nest is down there. Or you can fill it in. You can fill it in. And so some people will just take like sand or gravel or even new soil, and they'll just pour it down in the hole to try to fill in their nest. Now, if you wait a couple days and you see that they've dug out the nest again, you know all those rats are still living there. And then you know you need to keep treating. So what we usually do is you'll have the exterminator put the bait down in the hole, wait a few days, let the rats eat the bait, see if they die in the nest, and then maybe like 5 days later, collapse the nest. And then wait another day. If the nest is dug out again, you know the rats are still alive. They've rebuilt their home. So then you have the exterminator put the bait down in there again. Wait another few days, let the rats eat the bait. Hopefully they die this time in their nest. Then you collapse the nest again. And you just keep doing that until the rats are done.
Right. I think the
Hopefully-
problem is, part of it is that the neighbors next to my family, they put their garbage out very early on Sunday. And it's
Yeah.
a three-family home, and there's lots of garbage. Lots of garbage. Lots of garbage. So I think that may be a lot of problems, because when I've seen the rats come out, I've seen them run to that pile of garbage and then run back in to my cousin's yard. So I thought they were going back to those people's house, not knowing that there was a hole in my family's yard next door.
Yeah.
So
It's
they
very
alerted
frustrating.
they alerted my cousin to the fact that there was a hole in the yard, because they could see it through the fence. So like I said, the rats would run out of their yard and then run back into her yard, and then I guess go down to the hole, get whatever they need from the garbage, and then go back into the hole.
Yeah, they're definitely feeding there and living on your cousin's property, which is very frustrating. I think the only thing you can do is if you're friendly with that property owner or the manager there, is just say, if they can put their garbage in containers instead of just loose, it'll help you solve the rat problem, because those rats are there because they are getting a good meal. And you can poison them, but more rats will come back if the food source is still there.
The owner's very elusive. So
Yeah.
I would need the city to come in, and so how would I do that? Because he's very elusive. Because we've had problems with him before, and he never returns. We have his number, but he never calls us back whenever there's a problem over it.
Okay, so what I would do, just in terms of that situation, is I can take your address, the address with the garbage problem down, and we can send an inspector out. But what I want you to do is to make sure that your cousin's property looks like pristine, so that the inspector doesn't accidentally write a ticket. Yeah. So and the way that you do that are all the things that you've said so far. Is like, if you have the bait stations up, you want to make sure that your own garbage is contained. And then the other thing just about yards is that rats, really like to feel safe, and they're gonna seek out areas where there's what we call harborage. And so, like, if the grass is really tall, or if there's a lot of ivy, or if there's very dense plantings,
it's a flower
they're
bed.
gonna,
Where they made the burrows, a flower bed.
Yeah, so you just want to make sure it's like very clean and spare so that they're not too comfortable in there.
Excuse me, Caroline, so
thank you.
you'll leave your email address that we could reach you with more questions, especially like you want an address.
Yes,
Oh,
I
yeah.
will make sure. You can also make referrals to us through George. George knows me. We've worked together for many, many years.
Okay. John, you want to speak? Go ahead.
I'm
Okay,
just going to
thank you.
warn you, I'm going to take myself off camera for a second while I find my charger. My phone's about to die. And then if in any case, if I drop off, I'll come right back. I'll still be able to hear you. I'm just coming off camera.
Guys, you know, that I work for DEP and I take care of the rain gardens, and the rain gardens are like the perfect habitat for the rats. And we're having a problem with the burrows and the dens and stuff. And what I found out is you could treat it by putting the bait in the hole, like Caroline says, and then backfilling, like use a little shovel and backfill the hole. That usually kills them. But the problem is, a couple of the rain gardens, I found dead squirrels in there. So you could actually kill the rats, but then you could also kill the wildlife around there. So you know that could also create a problem for if you kill the squirrels and all that stuff. I know Mike is like, yeah, squirrels are rats too.
Squirrels can go too.
Fuzzy tails, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't catch everything that you just said. So I want to.
I prefer the bait boxes because like the method that you said, it works, putting the bait in a hole and backfilling. Um, I used to actually do that, but then we found dead squirrels in the rain gardens because I work for DEP. So we end up just using the bait boxes. It's more expensive, but then it saves us from getting any backlash from the Wildlife Foundation or whatever that we're destroying the environment and stuff like that.
John,
Yes.
did you tell me what a rain garden is?
No, the rain gardens, because we have the rain gardens at the side of the streets. We design the rain gardens to capture the storm water. But the rain gardens are perfect because the soil is made like with 50% sand, 50% soil. So the rats love it, especially in Brooklyn. So we've been actually when they actually have big burrows, man. I'm talking like 6-inch holes down into the soil, and we actually would drop cubes of poison in there, or my exterminator would do that, and then he would backfill it with a shovel, and it works. But then you kill all the things around it. You kill the squirrels, you kill everything.
So how do
Yeah.
you, so you think the boxes work better?
So we've been using bait boxes.
Yeah. Let
Okay.
me acknowledge a couple of things. One is the bait stations are designed to be the safest method to deliver bait. So and generally the way they work is, you know, it's a black box. People see them everywhere in New York City, and the bait is in blocks on rods that are inside the bait station. The bait station is locked, and the rats, you know, they go in the bait station, they feed on the bait, and then they exit the bait station, and they hopefully go back to their nest and die. So they're very safe because no other wildlife can get to the bait, just the rats. Generally, squirrels won't go in there, dogs can't get in there. So you see, it's very safe. The problem with burrow baiting, as you just described it, is you have to be very careful when you're burrow baiting. Burrow baiting is when you take the bait pellets and you put it down inside the nest. That's what we were just talking about. Now, that's fine if you put bait pellets inside the nest because you're kind of guaranteed those rats are going to eat the bait because you're putting it right in their home. The problem is if you put the bait in and then collapse, which is what you just said, rats, they don't take the time to eat the bait, all they know is that someone just caved in their home. So they're going to dig out their home and kick all that bait back up. And once that bait is exposed, then the non-target wildlife might consume it, like the squirrels. So the trick is, if you're going to do burrow baiting, where you put the bait inside the nest and then you leave it, don't collapse it right after you put the bait down. You have to wait. You put the bait in the nest and you leave it undisturbed for 5 to 7 days. Give the rats a chance to eat the bait first and then collapse their nest. The biggest mistake the exterminators make is they're too eager to collapse that nest, and then the rats never eat the bait. So hopefully that clarifies things.
Yeah, that it does.
Other questions I can answer.
I hear someone speaking. Does Anna want to say something? I don't know.
There's nothing for me to add, unless you have any questions regarding any COVID updates that you might have.
Okay, let's finish with the rats first, and then we'll go. Anybody else? So what I'm getting is we could call NewYorkCity.gov/rats, and we could get written information. And they will send us packets, and we could pass those out.
Ms. Bragdon, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Carl. I'm sorry.
And we could also get in touch with you, and if we have any other questions, we should go through George, or people go through me, and I could contact you with the questions. As I said, I hesitate asking people for their addresses over here. I don't want people in China to know where they live.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, so any kind of correspondence, any questions you might have, you can reach out to Erica Peralta, which is your liaison with the external affairs. So any concerns regarding any addresses or 311 numbers that will be put through for any rat complaints can be channeled over to Erica Peralta directly. And then I also put in the link to the rats page from our Department of Health website into the chat box. You can check it out, and any kind of the posters, flyers are also available in the digital format on the website that you can share, print out, and post to your social media as well.
Okay, and if we have a serious, if we have a question, or it's out of, they see the rats, they call 311.
Yes, those complaints can be put through 311. And then if you do that, if you have anything that you want to follow up on, do please reference the 311 number so that we can work with Caroline's team to get you updates.
Okay. Anybody? John? Go ahead.
Yeah, Ms. Bragdon, can I get your email address, your the work email address, so I could email you from my DP address, and so that we could make contact about our treatment processes?
Yeah, sure. So we can I'll email you directly after this so you have it.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Yeah, and we're always happy to work with our partner agencies. I do a lot of interagency work. As I said, I work closely with NYCHA, with sanitation, with Parks Department, and with DOE. And we're always happy to work with other agencies. I know that the other agencies often are struggling to respond to rats. So we do a lot of consultations for other agencies, and happy to do that and work side by side with you.
And in maybe a couple of weeks, they'll have that map up to see if there's a problem close to where any of us live. Okay.
Absolutely. I hope it's a couple of days. We're in the final stretches of getting our map. And as I said, you'll be able to access the map and all of our print materials at nyc.gov/rats. or if you go to the health department website, you can just look on the health department website under rats, and you'll find us.
Okay. Mike, you have your hand raised? Wait, okay. Okay, so Anna, you have updates on COVID?
Yes, I can provide some updates. Are there any specific questions that you have currently?
When are we going to be free and clear over here?
Got it. Okay, so well, currently we have the vaccine distribution happening in New York City, and I'm sure Erica has given you the updates on that. But you know, we are still in a state of emergency, and there is still widespread transmission of COVID in New York City. And there are variants that are in New York City as well. And I can send you the link to our page where you can find more information regarding variants and such. But we are working to increase both access and confidence in the vaccines to try to get us to the end of it. So hopefully be able to answer your question as to when this is all over. But currently, it's really has never been easier as it is now to make an appointment through either our call center or through the Vaccine Finder website. Earlier this month, actually last month, we're already in May. Oh boy. So last month, it was announced that anyone in New York 16 and older is eligible to get the vaccine. So that means anyone who lives, works, or studies in New York City can go to any of the New York City run sites. And a lot of them are non-appointment based, so you can just come on a first come, first serve basis for first dose. And in New York City, this would be like the Javits Center, the Yankee Stadium, the Aqueduct Racetrack, Medgar Evers College, and York College, which is in Brooklyn. And the New York City run clinics are also now offering second shots to those who received their first injections, and non-city providers or outside of New York City as well. So this is also really helpful. So you can make an appointment either on vaccinefinder.nyc.gov or by calling the number 877-VAX4NYC. And again, you can go and walk up to any of the city sites without an appointment. We are also surging access points and outreach for New Yorkers. Also about the homebound vaccination program, the pop-ups at the houses of worship, NYCHA, NORCs, and consulates in New York City, mobile van deployment, TBO and other authorized scheduling and outreach. And there's many canvassers out in the New York City scheduling people in their neighborhoods. There are 3 vaccines that have received FDA emergency use authorization at this point. Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson is back on the table. They're all effective at preventing COVID-19 illness, but if you do want to choose a specific vaccine that you want to get, you can get listing of which vaccine is available at each of the sites on the Vaccine Finder website. So each location will let you know which of the 3 they are administering at that site. But again, the best vaccine is the one that you can get now, and they're all effective at preventing COVID-19 illness. They're all shown to be effective against severe COVID-19 hospitalizations and deaths. And the sooner you can get vaccinated, the sooner you are protected from the illness. There are side effects that are normal and expected. You might feel tiredness or headache, soreness at the arm where you'll get your injection. So that shouldn't be discouraging. against getting it, but these are side effects. This is not, you getting COVID. They do not alter your DNA, and you will not get COVID from getting the vaccine. Yeah,
There was a,
let me know if there's anything else.
there was a question of women who are or might expect to be to get pregnant soon. Is there any side effect that they should be concerned about?
So just, off the top, I am not a medical doctor, but vaccines have been given to women that are pregnant and are expecting to be pregnant, and they have shown to be no severe side effects. After you get your vaccine, you are going to be monitored for 15 minutes at the location to see if there's any severe adverse reaction that will happen, which usually happens within the first 15 minutes. And there hasn't been anything to report thus far. But if anyone who is worried about getting the vaccine, who is pregnant or planning to become pregnant, can also speak to their healthcare provider. When the vaccine trials are happening, there has been just a small number of pregnant women that were participated, but there have been also women that participated that got pregnant afterwards that are doing well. So.
Very good.
But again, do speak to your primary care physician if you are concerned about this.
Okay, is there anything else that anybody would like to talk about?
Yes.
Okay,
I just
I'll go after.
I just want to mention, I know that Shaniqua Moore has a vaccine site that's going to open up soon, but the truth is you can walk in and get the Moderna vaccine at Edenwald YMCA. The YMCA is not open for the general public, but they did open up their gym to give the vaccines. They've been doing the vaccines there now for the last about 3 weeks now, 4 weeks right now. And they are open on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sundays from 9 to 5. That you could come in, you could walk in, and you can get the vaccine. I'll be working up there. I'll be up there doing the pods because I work with the Department of Health, and I've been working on the vaccine distribution and people who go around and hand out the mask and sanitizers for quite a while. So they did open, and they said, YMCA, the Edenwald YMCA, the brand new building, they are doing the vaccines from Thursdays to Sundays from 9 to 5. It's just a walk-in. All you need is an ID. They are given, that's the Moderna. So you will have to be scheduled for the second shot. You could come in and get the first shot. They are given the Pfizer vaccine at Lehman College. That is also a walk-in site. And in Co-op City, they are given the vaccine that is Janssen or Johnson & Johnson, also known as Janssen. So that's 3 locations in the Bronx. There are other locations. I have the list. It's actually in my pocketbook because I got to run with it tomorrow. But they have all the lists for, all the boroughs with the walk-in sites.
Yeah, and I just to add on to this, I did drop in some links into the chat box, and the last link, the walk-up sites, it has the written out all of the locations by borough that take walk-up vaccination sites. The locations that you mentioned are listed there, as well as many others.
Yeah. And the recommendation is for anybody who's skeptical or concerned about the vaccine, which vaccine. The only thing about the vaccines, the reason that they distribute them differently is because of their storage abilities. So if they're storing the Pfizer, that means they have the refrigeration that's necessary to store it. And the Johnson & Johnson means well, they have the refrigeration that's necessary for storage. So it's basically like some people had said, well, how come they put Johnson and Johnson in the Black community? Or how come they only put Pfizer in the white community? You know, like that's the responses that we get from people in the street. And the real truth is, how do they select their places for which vaccine? And basically, it is their ability or their capacity for the storage and the proper storage of it, of the vaccine. And the other recommendation is, if anyone is skeptical, check with your primary care physician. You know, the hospitals are offering the vaccine also. You know, they do schedule you, like if you haven't had the vaccine yet, they will put into your chart. They say, hey, you're due for the COVID-19 vaccine. So you can have a conversation with a primary care physician.
Shaniqua,
Yeah,
you have a question?
yeah, thanks for that, Ursula. I actually wanted to talk a little bit about the building trust part. As I know that in my circles and in conversations that I'm hearing, not everyone, but some people are still very mistrustful of the vaccine. And I know that Edenwald, 10466 is one of the lowest areas in terms of people vaccinated. So I'm wondering, are there going to be any specific targeted interventions to build trust with communities of color that are mistrustful and that may not be buying into being vaccinated to be safe, whether it's working with CBOs or with faith-based institutions. How is the city preparing for that?
So first of all, I want to say that with the Department of Health, we are partnered with other city agencies and the Vaccine Command Center, which is made up of also different city agencies, to COVID conversations around the vaccines. So if there's anyone that you think would benefit from having a physician or doctor or anyone from the Department of Health join to do a conversation to talk about what the vaccines are, how they were developed, and then take some questions to talk through some of the concerns. That's something that we can do. You can also reach out to Erica to schedule one, and we, have like a slide deck that we can do it on, no slide deck. If an interpreter is needed, we can do that as well. And then we do partner with community doctors as well, doctors who are not employed by the Department of Health, but are, doctors from the community that live in the community, that look like the community, that can connect and help answer some of those questions and concerns as well. And hearing stuff from a doctor usually helps. And other than that, if there's anything that you can also think of as other ways we can do this outreach and help answer questions and concerns, we're always listening to those suggestions as well.
Yeah, I think trusted messengers are always good. I know when they were doing a lot of outreach and strategy for the census, they did a lot of trusted messenger strategy, which it appeared to be effective. So maybe even building out some kind of similar format where you target leaders in the community to have those conversations themselves within groups of the community. So it's people that look like them, and
Yeah.
people that live that, those conversations are being spearheaded and those dialogues are happening with us. So I think that, that's a good strategy. I don't know how much that's being utilized. I know with the census, they rolled out a few RFIs and RFPs where CBOs were able to complete applications and get funded for doing that. So it sort of incentivizes CBOs to do the work. I'm wondering if the city is interested, it would be doing something like that as well.
Yeah, so, folk that did work at the census, a lot of them are also working at the BCC right now, just as background, but we do have something similar. It's not same as the census did, but we do have something called Train the Trainer, where we do have folk, we have a community engagement team that comes out and does these conversations with community leaders, community organizations to talk about how to become a trusted messengers. So it's called Train the Trainer, and they basically talk about how to do these presentations, conversations, and provide them with tools and resources to have these conversations about vaccines. That's something that is also that can be scheduled and something that can be set up. And on top of that, we are doing, conversations with various community leaders already. We do, town halls, meetings, to then encourage folks that join, that get some information out of there, to be those folk that come and speak to their neighbors, their friends, to encourage them and to help answer some of the questions that they have. Because, when you hear it from someone that it's sometimes a better message. And then on top of that, our Commissioner of Health, Commissioner Choksi, did do a call to action to the physicians in New York City, to medical providers, to help us get New Yorkers vaccinated. We know that providers are critical to building confidence in the vaccines, particularly among communities of color that have been most impacted by COVID-19. So, the ask is just to make a strong recommendation to their patients to get vaccinated, answer their questions, and direct them to access points to get the vaccine as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I love to talk outside about the expansion of the homebound program. I know we have a lot of seniors in our district that can't necessarily go down the steps and go across the street. They can't really, they have a lot of mobility issues. So I'd love to talk offline about that too. But thank you so much. I appreciate that, Anna.
Absolutely, yeah.
I have another question for Caroline. It occurred to me, do we still have a raccoon problem as much as we did a couple of years ago?
Well, I guess the question is really, you should tell me that. If you're not seeing raccoons, if you're not finding that your garbage cans are tipped over, your garbage is ripped apart, then hopefully your raccoon problem has resolved itself. Raccoons are a lot like rats. They're going to take advantage of uncontained garbage to feed nightly, and they're going to look for harborage conditions, dense overgrowth, older dead trees, park land, or strips of kind of unkempt park spaces, or empty lots to nest. But you'll know if you have a raccoon problem, because you'll see them.
Oh, yeah. Okay, then. Thank you all is there anything else? I don't want to shut anybody out if they have another question. John?
Ms. Bragdon, I put my email address in the chat for you. Could you send me an email? I would like to schedule a Teams meeting with you.
Or Anna and Erica and I will make sure that we have all exchanged information. Let's see, I'm going to open up.
Can you please send it over to me? I'm not seeing it in the chat, your email.
Okay, I'll put it out in the chat.
Thank you, because I'm actually on my phone right now, and I'll be responding by email shortly.
Okay. I just put it in the chat.
Thank you.
Yeah, because we having a real big problem with this, and you seem like you could help me. Probably we could work together, because I'm spending a lot of money on this, and it's driving me crazy.
I understand.
All right. Thank you, Ajira, Shanika, Anna, Carmen, Caroline, Clinton, Haley, John, Michael, and Ted for coming. It's very nice, and have a nice rest of the evening. And we appreciate Erica organizing it for us.
Thank you so much, everyone.
All
Okay.
right.
Everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Have a
All
great
right,
night,
thank you.
everybody.
For
Good night.
Jerry, do you shut it off?
Yeah, I'm gonna stop the recording now. And I understand when I stop it, it goes to George. All right.
Okay, and we get all the information on the chat too, right? We could access.
Okay,
Like
if you want the
emails.
information on the chat, that we can select all. And we can put, wait, I'm gonna put select all. And then I put a copy. So I
Right,
copied the
we got
chat.
those addresses that, or the email addresses that they were leaving and we could access. Or anybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did put a copy for us in this. Yes, I'm gonna copy it and paste it onto a desktop and I'll send it to you.
Very good.
Okay?
Thank you very much. I appreciate what you've done for us.
You know,
Okay.
I just want to mention that I'm with the Department of Health and we do a COVID-19 presentation too. It's a 1-hour presentation though. You may want to consider that, you know, maybe for the next, I don't know if you could do it in your committee meeting, considering the committee meetings are an hour.
It'll probably be better. It'd be better at a committee meeting because a lot of times I've wanted, for example, to have this at a regular meeting where more people would be from the community rather than the just from the board.
Yeah,
On the other hand, there's not enough time to give them an
right,
hour. This might you're home, you listen to what you want.
right.
Okay, I'll talk to you about it.
Yeah, we
Okay.
don't have, yeah, we could talk about it. We'll talk about it and figure out if we could do that. I mean, you know, it's an hour, it's about an hour presentation and you know, it shares, you know, things that have happened about COVID, but it really addresses how you manage your mental health, how you manage anxiety, stress, and depression. You know, I don't know. It's kind of okay. They have a 3-hour version too, but I know the 3-hour version will be a little bit much. You know,
I'm just
but this,
thinking like next month will be our last meeting before
yeah,
September.
uh-huh.
Is September, you think we'll be done with it or?
No, September is fine. So I don't think we're going to be done with this COVID-19 concept for a while. You know, it's going to be a while. It just can't end because they have the new variations of the virus that's coming out too, and they're trying to address that. And all of these vaccines, you know, are only for emergency use. They're just emergency use. They're not licensed. You know, none of them are licensed, you know. And they are still just using it as an emergency use, you know.
Very good.
So we'll talk. Think on it, and we'll talk. I'll explain to you a little bit more about what it is as far as COVID conversations.
Okay, because it would be either June or September.
Yeah,
What would you think would be better?
I would think in September.
Okay.
I will
We'll
check.
find out that.
I'm gonna check with my agency, with the Department of Health, to see if we are still going to be doing the 1-hour presentation, because it is good. It's like an introduction into the overall picture of mental health. And we do want to emphasize that COVID has really caused a lot of mental health issues, has caused people to act out, and they're acting out. They don't know that they're acting out. Like, this is because of COVID. They're acting out because of all the racial inequities that they see and experiencing watching the TV all the time, you know. But yeah, and this is just all because COVID-19 is the underlying, you know, piece that has really caused all of these things to come to the surface, you know.
We've become prisoners in our own houses.
Yes. Now I'm not a prisoner. You know, like, I take precautions, but I do go away now.
We get out too, but I know
Yeah.
people that haven't been out in a year. I said, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
So
I have
there's a level of fear that,
yes.
could get to you.
That's it. It's the level of fear. Because I have a cousin. This girl actually fought in the war. She fought in the war. She's retired from the service, and she has not come out of her house. You know, she
Oh.
has such a fear. She's in Florida, and she is just. She said, "Oh, I don't want to go out there with all those people." You know, so.
Florida, yeah, they're wide open over there, so yeah. So
But anyway.
it's gonna have to wean us off COVID, I guess.
Yes, I mean, some of it is going to stay the same. It's going to be our new normal. That's without a doubt. We are going to have a new normal. We just have to embrace that. But we have to be cautious. As far as me, I go away. I go to the islands. I go to St. Croix. When I come back, I don't congregate in large crowds, and I do socially distance. And I keep precautions with me all the time. In all of my bags and coat pockets, I got a hand sanitizer and I got a mask and everything. So I still take precautions. And I got the shot. I did get the shot.
I find myself like, if somebody's too close, you sort of threatened almost.
Yeah.
And like 6 months ago, I would have given the person a hug. Now I take a step away.
That's right.
It's really a tough thing.
Especially when you're in the public. And I had the shot. I had the Johnson shot, I didn't experience anything. I didn't experience and I'm 70, I just turned 70. So I did not experience not one bit of anything, and I had the shot in March, so anyway.
That's when I had them too.
Okay, good.
All right, so I'll be talking to you. So you know what? We'll sort of plan on September.
Yeah.
I want to see about getting something for. She had it, but I want to get something on. It's slavery. It's not bringing them in, trafficking,
Okay.
slave trafficking.
Right.
It's so bad, and everybody's sort of keeping it quiet because they don't know what to do about it. And and there were a couple of things about it. Not that we could do anything. I don't even know if it would make sense because we couldn't do anything about it.
I mean, have you spoken to Q English? She has the church on Gun Hill Road. You don't know Q English, right?
I haven't spoken with her. I know her.
Yeah, Pastor Q English. She was very heavy into the trafficking. She had actually intervened with trafficking with a little girl over here on Gun Hill Road too, because it is happening in the neighborhood. So.
Right. If I'm correct, she has her church on the left side going east.
Yes,
right?
going towards Co-op City.
Her husband was also a pastor, right?
That's right. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember them from the police group. Okay.
Right. Yeah, but she has been spearheading the trafficking. She even had a website about trafficking here in the Bronx because she's saying, it's just something to pay attention to.
Yeah.
So,
sure.
yeah.
All of a sudden, you don't know what's going on, and you're into it. Okay, Jerry, thank you very much. I appreciate what you did. I'll be talking to you.
Cool.
Okay.
Talk to you soon. All right. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.